Hi class, this seems like a good time for another video. We have things to look back on, a new module to look forward to, and some changes in the syllabus. Taking a look at where we've been since the intro material, let's start with the Atoms to Minerals module with a little story first. At one of the workshops I attended in Colorado, one day we had 5 geologists with PhDs accompanying our class. I found a white mineral and applied the few physical tests I could at the time and thought it might be barite, but with 5 professional geologists along, I decided to check my ID. We were hiking to a site and spread out, and over the course of the fair hike, I had a chance to ask each professor individually. Would you believe that I got 5 different answers? Yep, mineral ID isn't all that easy. Even professors don't always agree with a simple look at a mineral. I'm sure there would have been more agreement if we could have run more physical property tests, and what would have been best would be to have it x-rayed. Of course, that doesn't happen in the field, but that would show the mineral's fingerprint and would settle it. At least in your online lab, you're given results of many online physical property tests, but there's still some interpretation of what you're seeing, like, what should I call that luster? That gets easier and better with practice. On the Atoms to Mineral quiz, a number of people missed part of the question on the definition of a mineral or mineral characteristics. Remember that to be considered a mineral, a specimen does need to occur naturally, not be made in a lab. I'll take this time to remind you to ask questions if you don't understand something or if you want to know more. Feel free to question a score. Sometimes keys are in error, or there's another way of looking at an idea besides what I had in mind when grading. And you can earn back points missed by explaining sometimes why you chose an answer you did. This goes for quizzes and homework both. And you may also ask questions while you're working on homework. In fact, I wish you would. Module 2, Earth as we know it. Some essential ideas before going on. I said you'd be quizzed on that along with Module 3 this week, but there'll just be a short quiz over Module 2, first thing in Module 3 this week while it's fresh in your mind. I decided to test on this week's work on intrusive igneous rocks along with next week's work on extrusive igneous rocks and volcanoes, since there's so much natural overlap in those 2 modules. It makes more sense. Also, if you liked in Module 2 a chance to study some about geology planets, know that we have an entire class on that. A new development this week, the syllabus mentioned a big project and forum that has been a tradition in our department for a while, but it's been decided that we won't be holding that this semester. I'll get that information changed in the syllabus. The upside is that we have more time then to spend on some physical geology units, and I'll be updating those 2 near the end of the syllabus. Here's a look at this week's work. This is Minerals to Rocks, Intro and Intrusive Igneous Rocks. Near the beginning here, after the overview, is Earth and How We Know It quiz, followed by a rock cycle game that I think you'll enjoy. And you can see that you'll have some more identifications here, this time igneous rocks. And you'll notice that we use quiz formats for some labs. The quiz tool has a lot of nice features for surveys and labs and more, as well as quizzes. If it's a lab and graded, it's graded as an assignment rather than a quiz. Okay, so thank you for listening and have a great week.